is Vicki Jervicus at the Greater Gainesville Chamber of Commerce, and I'm delighted to be doing candidate interviews for all of our candidates for the general election that will be held, as I think everyone knows by now, November 5th. And our candidate today is Mary Alford, who is running for the Board of County Commission as our incumbent and District 1, right, Mary? I've got that
That's
correct.
right.
Okay, terrific. All right, so we're going to jump right in with her, and she will tell us a little bit more about herself, and we'll proceed through some questions and get to know her better today. Thanks, Mary. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. And as Vicki said, I'm Mary Alford. I'm running for District 1 for the Board of County Commissioners. I am proud and honored this year to be serving as chair of the Board of County Commissioners. And that's been a great experience to be able to represent the county in that way. I'm from right here in Gainesville, born and raised. I went to Idlewild Elementary and PK Young, and then Santa Fe College, and then got a couple of degrees from UF. Took me quite a while because for most of that time I was getting my degrees, I was a single mom with 4 kids, but I eventually graduated with a degree in engineering and then a master's of engineering. I worked at GRU initially in water and wastewater, and then I went to work for Progress Energy, which is now Duke Energy, where I worked in the power industry, eventually becoming in charge of operations of a small power plant up on the Swanee River. And then later coming back as a consultant and working on project management and mostly projects with an environmental focus because my degree is in environmental engineering. But after that and a short bout with cancer, I kind of had a come to Jesus moment about why I got my degree in environmental engineering, and went back to school a bit and studied sustainability in the built environment. And then for the next 15 years or so, I owned my own architecture and engineering consulting firm where we specialized in sustainability, energy efficiency, urban design, and building smaller but better designed houses. Um, I decided to run for office back in 2019 after serving on multiple boards, both nonprofit organizations here in Gainesville and around the state, as well as serving the city of Gainesville on the utility advisory board and the county on the environmental protection advisory board, as well as the code enforcement board. I got a little tired of advising and decided that I was ready to start making decisions and ran for office in 2020 and did pretty darn good at that election, beating a 20-year incumbent. I ran, and I'm still running, on a platform that focuses on roads and infrastructure, focusing on environment, sustainability, and resiliency, and also focusing on solving some of the problems that we're facing here in Gainesville, including things like jail reform and addressing violence in the community and other things like that. I'm also really focusing on housing, which I see as probably the biggest challenge facing Alachua County.
Okay, terrific. Well, that's going to give obviously a good segue to our questions. So, the first question relates back to some of the information you've given us, which is what particular skills and experiences do you bring to this office?
Well, I believe that my background as an engineer has been very helpful in addressing and getting a plan together to address the roads in Alachua County. I know that many folks are disturbed that we aren't addressing their particular roads of concern, right away. But we were at a 20-year deficit on road repairs and road improvements because previous commissions just had not prioritized roads. And quite frankly, neither did the public. We tried in the past for referendums to help fund road repairs because Alachua County is a not a fiscally constrained county, we do not get road money from the state like many of the surrounding counties do. Not only that, the state gave us several hundred miles of roads to maintain that weren't in great shape without any funding mechanism to maintain those. So I was very grateful that in 2022 we passed with the help of all the citizens in Alachua County, the Wild Spaces Public Places expansion to allow us to put more money into roads and to housing.
Very good. Okay, so, and again, you've touched on this a little bit, but this will give you a chance to amplify anything in particular. What are your top priorities and projects going forward?
Wow. So housing again is a big thing going forward. A program that I initially instituted right after getting into office to provide funding for rental units in exchange for those rental units being maintained as affordable housing. I'm hoping some of your viewers that might have housing, might be interested, rental housing, may be interested in participating, but it provides up to $15,000 to do energy efficient improvements to rental properties in exchange for those rental properties being maintained as affordable housing. We're finding that across the county, we were losing affordable housing because as apartment owners did upgrades, they upped the rent and changed them into market rate, typically student rentals. So, that has contributed to over 60,000 people a day that commute into Alachua County on our roads, clogging our roads up at key times of day because they can't afford to live here anymore. So, along with that project focusing on rental housing, the county is also in the process of rehabbing over 100 rental units that are going to be used to help our most vulnerable citizens have a house. And then we are looking for public-private partnerships to do workforce and attainable housing. This is housing that is for teachers and nurses and firefighters and police officers and folks that make, money in the range of $50,000 to $100,000, because that is the price range where we are, that's the missing middle in housing. So we can provide land if we can find developers to build the houses. And we would love to talk to anyone that is interested in working on that. I also have a project going on to convert shipping containers into small efficiency apartments for folks that have been previously homeless in an effort to provide permanent supportive housing to folks that are currently living on the street and alleviate some of the homeless problems that we're seeing in downtown Gainesville.
Terrific. The next question is, what policies could the BOCC adopt to help spur job growth and diversity in our community?
Wow, that's something that we've been working on. We just created a Department of Economic Development, which has been lacking in Alachua County for a long time. We're combining that Department of Economic Development with our tourism department because they really do go hand in hand. And we are keeping that looped in with our sustainability and special projects because we know that Gainesville and Alachua County looks for a particular kind of business here. We are not looking for just, anyone to come and produce a product here or create a business. We're looking for specific kinds of business. And, we've been successful in some regards. Alachua has their wonderful biomedical park. In that line, we are doing a study along the 301 corridor, looking for opportunities for appropriate kinds of development in that eastern side of our county. We've seen a lot of work on our western side. And so we're hoping by learning about all the social determinants in that part of our county that we can be eligible for all the grant money that is out there to help spur the right kinds of community change and create better access to the internet, better water, wastewater, all the things that can help bring a business to a particular area.
Okay, very good. Now we're going to cover a little bit some of the real pervasive issues, and you touched on this again. Despite our county's many positives, we are still plagued by inequality in incomes, housing, and educational attainment, particularly. What ideas do you bring to the table on these?
One of my favorite things that I'm working on right now is a project for preschools versus daycare. We have in our county only 40% of our preschool kids have access to daycare, and the need is much, much greater than that. Part of the problem is actual availability, and part of the problem is affordability. And a lot of the daycare that is out there, and I know there are some good daycares out there, but there are also many daycares that are just a babysitting service, and they are not giving our kids that head start that they need to head into kindergarten. So I've met with President Brody out at Santa Fe, and I've also been meeting with other community leaders. And my goal is to create a training program for folks that want to work in the preschool environment. This would be more than the 60-day program that they have that teaches the very basics, but it would also teach things like how to start addressing literacy and how to recognize when a family might need additional services and how to refer them to those services, and how to teach children and help develop kids' creativity and initial learning skills so that when they do get into kindergarten, they have that basis of skills ready to be successful. So if someone went through that training program, my goal is to work with the Children's Trust and get a financial stipend to the folks that go through that program to help get them better paid and to lower the cost of childcare, and look additionally for grant funding to support those things as well. There are some things out there right now as part of the Inflation Reduction Act and other acts that Congress has put out there that could feed into this. And then finally, I would like to, for any preschools that go through this program, I would like to provide an initial yearly box of supplies per child that would include things like workbooks and crayons and all the bits and pieces to help lower the cost of doing quality childcare and provide the pieces needed to help literacy. Another thing I would like to do and I'm working toward is identifying women that have literacy issues when they're pregnant. And when that happens, we all know a pregnant woman, when they have a baby, they want to be able to read the bottle of Tylenol. And so if we can identify literacy issues at pregnancy, we can get folks, signed up with compassionate literacy training, and then also sign them up for things like the Dolly Parton book program, where starting at birth, kids get a book a month, and that mom can practice reading while she reads to her child at very basic levels.
Very good. Okay, finally, one of our favorite wrap-up questions, which is, why are you running for the office? And certainly in your case, you know what you're getting yourself into. So and you're still doing
Yeah.
it.
Well, initially I ran because I was, like I said, I'd served on so many advisory committees and I'd been to so many commission meetings where I talked about the things that I would love to see our county do. And, I just didn't feel like, the things that I provided were being taken seriously. And when I complained about that, someone said, well, why don't you run for office? And it took me about 2 years to believe that I was the right person to do that. But since I've served over the, most of the last 4 years, I I really feel like I'm in the right place doing the right thing. I feel like I'm providing good support to Alachua County, and I don't have all the things that I've hoped to accomplish finished. And I'm hoping that the voters agree with that.
Very good. All right. Well, this last couple of minutes are all yours. You can either just take us on home, or if there's anything we didn't get to talk about or any issues that you wanted to mention before we close out, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm sure there's many, many things that, folks would like to hear from or have questions for me. So if anyone would like to talk to me before the election, I'm happy to share my telephone number and my email. If you would like to ask me about county business, you can call me at 352-810-1731. If you want to talk to me about election issues or about my candidacy, please call me at 352-317-4480. And you can also email me. My county email address is malford, at alachuacounty.us. And then my personal email address for any issues about, that aren't county business. I'd appreciate it if you use my personal email address for that. That email address is mary.alford@gmail.com.
Very good. We know how to get a hold of you now, so
Yeah, and
that's
thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to answer these questions for the Chamber of Commerce. I have really appreciated the Chamber over the last few years. We're starting to have a very good partnership with Alachua County, and I really appreciate that. And so, thanks to all your members, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time because I know it is a very, very busy season. And I will have to remind everyone again, voting day is right around the corner, Tuesday, November 5th. Get registered, get out there, make your voice heard. Thank you again, Mary. We'll see you out on the campaign trail.
All right, thank you. Take good care.
Thank you.